There's so much going on right next door to us with our West Bloomfield Park system. Kelly, thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, glad to have you on the show. There's a ton going on over at West Bloomfield Parks. Chief among all that has been what's really been the biggest news in our four communities over the past month, and that's the improvements that are ongoing, looking forward at the Recreation Activity Center. We know the Township Board had a brief discussion with you about that on Monday for some ballot language, and that will come back a week from Monday at their March 18th board meeting. But where does that project stand right now? How has that maybe changed or altered, if any, in these past few weeks during all this discussion?
Well, Tyler, we're still on track. So yes, we go back to the Township Board for final ballot language approval on March 18th. And then we are planning to launch our informational campaign in April. So be on the lookout for our dedicated website and all the other print material that will be available. And really, it's just sharing with the community our intentions, what we plan to do with our capital bond project.
And how has that been received so far? From when the news broke, from when you told us back at the Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce's installation ceremony, to when it started to be discussed at the township level, to now the news is out in the community. What's the reaction been like for you so far?
I would say it's many of our residents came forward and they're excited to hear more about it. They really like the forward thinking of bringing the senior center over to the Civic Center campus. And they love the concept of a gymnasium with an elevated walking track. Walking is our number one requested thing, whether it's hiking on our trails or walking past outdoors. But indoor walking has been a request from our residents for many, many years. So we're glad we can incorporate it into this project.
Yeah, and the seniors are such a huge part of this because Connect Senior Center, its new location at 14 Mile in Farmington in West Bloomfield, it's fantastic. It's a robust facility. It's a great spot for the services you're currently providing, but it's that stepping stone really to what you're imagining will be the future of senior services in West Bloomfield once you do potentially eventually get into that 33,000 plus square foot recreation activity center.
That's right. And in fact, when we first opened our first location on Orchard Lake Road, I recall we were celebrating that that's our first senior center in West Bloomfield. And we shared with the community at that time that it was a temporary space, but who knew it would take us a few more years given the COVID-19 pandemic delaying our plans. But we are 99% done with our concept plan, Tyler, which will be available soon to the public as well. We have had some additional community stakeholder meetings. Our senior advisory council has been very, very close to this project, giving us feedback and doing research themselves. So we feel like we will be ready for April with our launching of our informational campaign.
And what's that informational campaign going to look like? Because obviously it's going to be some discussions with us here on the Splash Live. We'd love to have you on. And of course, this is going to be something that's going to have a lot of people wanting to know all the information they can know before they go to the polls, presumably in August, should that ballot language be approved on March 18th. But what else will entail that informational campaign?
Yes, we're going to have a dedicated website which will host the ballot language as well as our frequently asked questions and some concept design plans. So that will be a great location for anybody to go to. We'll also have those available in print for those that won't be able to access the web. And then we have some community engagement, community meetings plans. So people can come to the informational meetings. They're both in June or last week in May, and in June. One will be virtual, one will be right at Connect. And then we are willing to come to any community group meeting to do a conversation or a presentation, an HOA meeting perhaps. We'll be out at all of our events this summer with information. The information will also be in our summer brochure and as well as available in a flyer form. So all kinds of formats, Tyler. And yes, we would love to come back on the show with more details.
And you mentioned getting ready for the summer. Part of that is getting the West Bloomfield Trail, which really is still, even to this point, with all the new amenities, all the great programs you have in place throughout the West Bloomfield Park system, that trail really is the crown jewel of our 4 communities amongst our parks. And some recent renovations to that, too, adding in those hawk crossing systems. We talked to Chris Fry earlier this week on the program about that. How does that improvement add to what was asked of West Bloomfield Parks to improve the trail, and what's necessary, particularly for safety of residents, seeing that is a place that so many people across our 4 communities frequent every single day, every season?
It is a walking highway, Tyler. So yes, we partnered with West Bloomfield Township, the City of Orchard Lake, and the Oakland County Road Commission to make the Hawk Light project happen. And there's 2 intersections where the crossings are. And it's a traditional, typical pedestrian crossing, so that you would encounter when you were crossing the road. But it's modified for a trail, a non-motorized vehicle crossing. And that allows a pedestrian to hit the light and traffic will come to a stop and they can safely cross. Because as you know, if you've used the trail, there is so many cars and people and bikers crossing that it was oftentimes dangerous when people were trying to navigate their daily walk. So we're really excited to get those. They are activated, but given the weather, we haven't seen the full amount of people, users out on the trail. So that's really exciting to make happen. And as you know, Chris brought to your, might have shared with you that the residents coming forward asking for these crossing started many years ago. So it is thanks to our residents who come forward and let us know and ask for enhancements or requests. Unless we hear from them, we don't know what they're thinking. So it is really great to be able to see a project come to fruition that started with residents calling and requesting that service.
And a great place to go to get in contact with the team at West Bloomfield Parks is as marked on our website right now on civiccentertv.com. Go to wbparks.org. It's at the bottom of your screen as we speak. We're joined by Kelly Hyer, Executive Director of West Bloomfield Parks, on today's edition of the Splash Live. And all these different amenities, the improvements that you're looking to make at the Recreation Activity Center, the improvements you've made on the West Bloomfield Trail, whether it's the hawk crossing system that you've put in a couple of places, or some of the bathroom and refreshment areas you're putting in at the trailhead in West Bloomfield, or anything else that goes into the programming. It's award-winning. It's recognized across the state. You were recently at the MParks conference in Kalamazoo, where your team took home a couple of prestigious awards: the 2024 Innovative Programming Award and Outstanding Marketing Award for your brand new website. Speak to how that shows the proper recognition for how hard your team works and how effective your work is, beyond just the satisfaction, of course, from your customers.
Well, we'll start with some kudos to our staff. So David Anthony, our naturalist, who came up with the Hike with a Hero program, and that was our Innovative Programming Award. And shout out to Abby Burgess and Megan Tahako for the website enhancement. An overhaul, actually. So back to the innovative programming, it really takes our staff getting creative and listening to our feedback and being able to look at trends. And our hikes are very popular. So David was thinking, how else can I make the hikes popular, or service our residents and get them more outdoors? Well, bring in our local heroes. So our fire department and police department have partnered with us to come outdoors, and it makes more people come out for our hikes. It's awesome. And then with our website, we really did need to make several enhancements to that, Tyler. And we were able to not only refresh the page, but make it more navigatable for our users, but also make it ADA compliant.
We're joined by Kelly Hyer. She is the Executive Director of West Bloomfield Parks, joining us on today's edition of the Splash Live. Plenty of more information on West Bloomfield Parks and recreation programs can be found on their website, wbparks.org, and on their Facebook page as well, at WB Parks. And you said it right there as you're talking about partnering with the police department, partnering with our fire department for your Walk with a Hero innovative program that won that MParks award for 2024 Innovative Program of the Year. Partnership plays a crucial factor in how your programs are able to A, get the word out, and B, be so effective. And that goes back to earlier on this week at the Township Board meeting. Not only did they talk a little bit about the ballot language for the Recreation Activity Center bond, but also about an issue related to food trucks and how some vendors, licensed vendors in our community, would be incurring some additional fees if they wanted to attend some of our special events. Ultimately, the board, in a unanimous vote, had decided to repeal that part of one of our local ordinances. And before they did that, you had mentioned to them how important of an issue that was for your operation. Now that that's been freed, how's that going to help you in attracting some of these food trucks that themselves have become huge attractions across our communities?
That's right. So, Tyler, we're working with the board to make a couple more tweaks to the ordinance. So, as you heard, that the first reading, they are proposing to eliminate the bonds requirement, which was a $500 fee to our food truck owners, as well as eliminate the requirement that our campus as well as our park endorsed food truck events would not have to we would not have to file that paperwork for that. So we're still tweaking and going through and making sure that it is a good fit, but we've heard back from our food truck owners that some of the requirements that we put in there they were unable to accomplish them. And then they wouldn't be able to vend in West Bloomfield, which would really take away from some of our events and some of the things that people look forward to when they're coming out to concert series, our Food Truck Tuesdays. So it needs to be a balance, and it's our first time doing this. So we're working really close to get that language just right. So stay tuned to March 18th, and we'll see if the second reading passes, and then we can then come back to you and share. And then we'll also get the word out to all of our food truck owners as well.
Yeah, something that both West Bloomfield Parks and food truck owners alike very much in favor of. We had a chance to talk to one of actually the first fully licensed to operate in West Bloomfield food truck, the Great Greek, earlier on this week, who also had very similar sentiments to that. And as you said, we see these food trucks out at so many of our events. You can learn more about West Bloomfield Parks and Recreation events, programs, initiatives, and more on their website on wbparks.org. Kelly, March is Women's History Month. Most recently, our celebration of International Women's Day. And if you look at the West Bloomfield Parks website, if you look at the makeup of the staff that makes all these great programs, all these great initiatives work, so much of the team at West Bloomfield Parks is led by incredible women that are innovative, that are smart, that are technically savvy, and are really focused on our communities. Talk about the impact that women have on West Bloomfield Parks and what makes your team so great.
Well, thanks for asking that great question, and very honored to be on the show on this significant day. And I will say that we hire the best and brightest people, and we just happen to have a lot of women on our staff. And it adds a caring component. It adds a lot of creativity, but really, West Bloomfield, we celebrate diversity, and that just goes to show that anyone that can do the job, that has the skill set, male or female, we put them in the right position. And so we love to showcase everyone's talents, and it just happens to be that we are a lot of women on our team right now.
Yeah, and they do some incredible work. You look at the staff list, and I'm not going to be able to list all of them in particular, but your recreation manager, Ashley Stokes, your HR manager, Ashley Fortin, who's been responsible for a lot of these new hires, and some familiar faces we'll see over the summer and spring season with new programs. Kay McMahon, who's been a superstar over at Connect as your senior services manager. Megan Tahako, also on your team for a number of years, working alongside you and the team. And even in the past with long-standing members of your team, Lauren Reserva, your Parks Naturalist supervisor, and even your former executive director, someone that you learned under also, and Jennifer Tucker, just the way that the team has built over the years with these women in leadership positions that help to really make that entire team, as you said, male, female, whatever the case may be so great at their jobs.
That's right. And we like to hire, again, the most innovative, kind, dedicated, committed, team-oriented people, and we found them. It is a great organization to work for. And so if you are looking to join our team, we have a few more positions posted. We're wrapping up our seasonal hiring right now. So jump on our website this week to get a chance to apply for our last open positions.
Yeah, you're going to want to join their team. They have a ton of fun over at West Bloomfield Parks. It only gets better as those seasons progress toward the warmer months of the year. Kelly Hyer is with us, Executive Director of West Bloomfield Parks, as we recognize International Women's Day during Women's History Month. You can learn more about West Bloomfield Parks and their entire team at wbparks.org. Kelly, before we let you go, anything else that's coming up with West Bloomfield Parks we should be keeping an eye out for, or any other exciting news you'd like to discuss today?
Well, the top two things that come to mind is we're launching our first pop-up library event next week at Connect. And that, again, goes back to partnerships. We love our library next door. So check that out. It's on Monday at Connect. And then we have, going back to our clever creative programming that's happening out of our nature team, they have a falconry program coming up in a couple weeks in March. So if you're into our big predator birds, you might want to check that out.
Yeah, so much fun stuff, interesting services, interesting learning opportunities for kids, adults, for families, and everybody in between, all on wbparks.org. Kelly, thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks for having me.